So we're back here on another Couch Coach Live. What's going on, Couch Coaches? We are back here on a Wednesday edition of Couch Coach Live. Got a special guest in the building before we introduce him. What's going on, Maui?
We shut, man. How's everything? Another week.
Everything is
You know,
everything. You know.
I've been really chilling from the avenue.
Yeah, yeah.
you
we
know.
got yeah, and we got our special guest. What's going on, Gabe?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. That's another Couch Coach Live. Definitely huge shout out to you, Gabe. Obviously, with Sports Takes Galore with Gabe. So, what's been going on, Gabe?
It's been good, man. It's been
Good.
great. I mean, we just had a great Super Bowl. I mean, it's been a good year of football, and now it's over.
I know,
Yeah.
right? I know,
Yeah.
right? That's the thing where it's a good thing and a bad thing. Kind of like one of the things where the relief, it's kind of somewhat of relief, especially for me. Like it's kind of like a relief. Like, hey, I can actually, maybe I could do something on Sundays. Maybe just,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
even though I just be, keep it a buck. It consumes my life, like especially when it comes to NFL Sunday. It's really like the calendar is already, the calendar is pretty much set from pretty much preseason to August to Super Bowl Sunday. As far as with football, it's like, you. I don't. I've not like even I can't even really imagine like especially when my team is playing. It's like I miss a Sunday. Unless something, catastrophic. But for the most part, like, I plan, I almost in essence kind of plan my life around football in a weird, strange way. Like, I don't know about you, Gabe. I know sometimes, like, have you peeped at, like, who you guys be playing in 2022
Oh
already?
yeah, I've already seen that. We actually see you guys too.
Yes, we're coming to Santa Clara this year. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah, we're coming to Santa
Yeah.
Clara. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I know because like a part of me is like because I always want to try to go like to a road game or whatever. So I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I look at Santa Clara, potentially Detroit, Chicago, probably Detroit because that's in my budget. But
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so,
hey, this year the 49ers come on the East Coast, so I mean they gonna be playing Carolina and
yep,
Atlanta. So that's closer to where I am in South Carolina. So I mean,
right.
I'm going like I say, 3 hour drive down to Charlotte, five
Yep.
hours down to Atlanta. I can crash with the fam.
Right.
Exactly. But yeah, and it's like you said, it's somewhat of a relief because like look, and now it's to a point where now the optimism is back. You know, like you said, as far as you feel because initially you think to yourself, okay, we're gonna do good. Then sometimes it don't go your way. Then the season over. Then the Super Bowl hits, and then you're like, okay, well, you know, hey, it's,
Wow,
it's next
coach.
year.
You sound so humble.
I mean,
Wow.
it is
You
what it
wasn't
is.
humble last year.
I mean,
Y'all
hey,
won a division. You was like, yeah, I see
yeah,
big things coming. You weren't
and
humble
I
last
still
year.
do. I still do. I think we got a great season to do what we got to do. I think we're franchise quarterback away. I don't know, Gabe.
Hey,
Long,
there's a
long
Oh,
as
there-
you,
there-
long as
there's a
you're
rumor out there.
QB1.
Hey, there's a rumor out there that the Redskins might trade a first round for Jimmy Garoppolo.
You better not. You better
Y'all,
not. Yeah. No. Not the 11th pick. No, I can give y'all maybe a second or a third or something.
you don't like your quarterback now?
No,
it's not
I mean it ain't about that. No, the thing with like we always talk about on my other podcast, Taylor is a backup quarterback at best, and like he's good if because really in theory what he really was supposed to be if Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt for us like maybe like a month, maybe about 4 to 6 week time range where he can kind of hold the fort down while he's recovering. But lo and behold, Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt in the second quarter and never came back. That was never the plan. That
We
wasn't the
told
plan
you
for.
that though. We
But
told you that. You was like, we got Fitzpatrick. We gonna be okay. I'm telling
yeah,
you, we told
yeah, he,
you.
he would have been okay. I think he would have been fine if he didn't get hurt. That's the thing. If he didn't get hurt, then it's a different story. That's the biggest issue. So that's why Taylor Heineke he was thrust in a position that he was. I don't want to say he was not ready for, but we just knew that. Yeah, he was inconsistent play. Like if he like think
I
about like
like
how
him.
season was. We had the 4-game losing streak with him. We had the 4-game win streak with him. We had the 5-game losing streak with him. So that's the thing where if you would have just had him for only like 5 to 6 weeks, I think he would help. But he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Always said that he's been a backup at
Okay.
best. But yeah,
So you want Russell Wilson?
it depends on the price. I think I don't think it's the price could probably a little bit too high for us.
Hey, y'all can take him too because I'm tired of that guy beating us.
No,
like I
right?
said, we beat everybody else in the division, but we can't seem to beat Seattle. So take them.
Yeah,
Gabe, I'm just doing this on purpose. You was campaigning all year for him to come, and now you're like, oh, he gonna cost too much.
Well, yeah, I mean that's because this, looking at multiple draft want assets. I'm like, no. I mean, it just depends. It depends on what Seattle want to give.
Gabe, he's so humble. Like he's
I
like
know,
he's really
right?
he's thinking he's thinking positive. He's like, no, we ain't doing that. Mid season, he was like, come on, Russ, come on home, come on. Now he like, hold up, carry the 1 ratio 3. Nah, we can't afford that.
Because we need that. We need that 11th pick. We need that pick. We need something. But yeah, man. So yeah, and like we said, what a great season. Obviously, we definitely got to talk about. We got definitely before we get into the regular season part of it, we definitely got to talk about Super Bowl 56. Just go around the horn. Just overall thoughts on the game. We'll go with your first, Gabe, since you're the guest.
Okay.
What you got?
Well, actually, it was a good game. I mean, I actually was close on the score. And you heard my episode with Taylor Cornell and Melvin Washington on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I said 26-23 Rams. All they need to do, but it ended up being 23 to 20 Rams. So I was close on the score. But overall, it was a good game. I mean, I thought the game could have gone either way. I mean, the Bengals had a chance to win that game in the third quarter. I mean, they came out and scored 10 quick points. I mean, you have the non-call on Jalen Ramsey. With T. Higgins getting that touchdown. Then, of course, 2 plays later, they intercept Matthew Stafford, and they had a chance to go up more, but they ended up scoring 10 points instead of 14. But then the offense got stagnated. And once the offense got stagnated, the offensive line, crumbled. Because Joe Burrow was sacked 1 time during the in the first half. He ended up getting sacked 6 other times, and I think that was the difference in the game. The offense got stagnated, the Rams hung around, and they finally pulled it out. But this is the kind of Super Bowl you kind of like, because you have one team that scores with just under 2 minutes to go, and then now you have the other team who has a chance to score, and then you have the defense that has to stop them. And of course, Aaron Donald, which he didn't do nothing until those last couple of plays that was impactful, that made the difference and stopping the Bengals and sealing the victory. So that's the kind of Super Bowl you want. One that comes down to a team having to stop the other team after scoring. So right. I think it was a good game. It was probably one of the best ones we've had in a few years, and It lived up to the hype.
Yeah, it sure did. What's your thoughts, Maui?
I think with the Super Bowl usually bring fans that don't really watch football. You know what I mean? And with the halftime show and everything, I think it was tense. It was entertaining for a person who don't even really watch football or who hasn't watched football in a while. You know what I mean? Like it really was a lot like a chess. It was just really, back and forth. You could see that it could have easily been a lame game because they could have easily threw flags through the whole game, but they let a lot of stuff go, especially with the receivers. So I was entertained, like for me, being on the podcast and what we put out there, like I definitely was like, I was going for the Bengals, and I was like, if they could just hold the score a specific way. We felt like the halftime was going to be very important, of what team was going to come out in the second half and basically come up with some things. You know what I mean? Because the halftime was going to be at least 25, 30 minutes, you know? And again, I agree with Gabe. I love the game. It was really good and entertaining, especially if you love football and competition. But I really felt like the last 4 minutes of the third quarter, they were trying to throw the ball too much. The Bengals were, and I felt like they should have been running the ball a little bit more. You know what I mean? Then the beginning of the fourth quarter, they started running the ball, and they actually had some success at it. It was too many 3 and out, and that's why, like you said, the offense got stagnant. That's how I felt. I was like, man, why you keep throwing the ball? Go ahead and run Mixon. You know, I kept saying that over and over again. I was like, run the ball, man, run the ball. You know what I mean? And because they had success, but it just seemed like, I don't know. Sometimes, man, I feel like they want the ball in the quarterback's hands, and they, you know what I mean, when they should just be staying balanced, you know what I mean, and do what they need to do and just take control of the game, you know, especially with an offense. They actually was doing okay. At first, when they had the lead, they was doing okay running the ball, but it seemed like once they got the lead, or the other team basically had the shit, my brain is, but basically the team had basically seemed like they were making a run. It just seemed like the pressure was different running the ball then. That's why Donald was able to get them a little bit better. You know what I mean? Then, like, I don't know, it just seemed like they was playing into the Rams' hands and some of the things that they were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seemed like they were, and then, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. If Beckham did not get hurt, he probably was about to show out. You know, we was talking about today at the barbershop that he probably say, oh, I'm about to, you know, and I spoke about that at the X Factor last week, where I think, you know, he like lights, camera, this is what I wanted. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show these people that I'm still the star. He got his touchdown, but then he got hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
there's a possibility that he might have been the MVP of the Super Bowl.
And that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about.
I mean, he, like you say, he was, I mean, that first drive, I mean, when he got that touchdown, man, he was catching some balls. And like I say, he dropped the pass. And then, of course, you know, towards ACL, which, you know, was unfortunate because, like I said, he would have been MVP of the Super Bowl, not Cooper Kupp. Because, I mean, like you said, he probably would have gone for 100 easily.
Yeah, it's a statement game for him too. Like I said, like in the barbershop, I was telling them, ever since that boat, we haven't really saw the Beckham that everybody talked about. Because, you know, in that playoff game, he dropped a lot of balls, you know.
Yep.
Then when he was with the Browns, he really, you know, like even when he went to the Browns, they kept saying he wanted to go to LA. Then he went to LA, and you started seeing Sean, you know, him coming back being who he is. But I felt like, you know, those certain stars that are really entertainers, those athletes that are entertainers, they live for those moments. And I was like, man, this might be the one where he could show everybody I am who y'all must have forgot about me. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it, man. Great game.
Yeah. And it was a lot of things that happened in that game. Like you said, I was initially, and it's funny, I kept on talking about the halftime, like they announced the halftime, like as far as people get stagnant. But boy, was I wrong about that, because obviously the first play was T. Higgins, that bombed to T. Higgins that pretty much, you know, put them up. So, you know, that was kind of that went pretty well for Cincinnati, because I always thought that was going to be the rush for Joe Burrow potentially, you know, with the halftime show. Another thing, like you said, we talked about the early game, like as far as Cincinnati, pretty much offensive line hold their defensive line to only 1 sack. So I was like, oh, they're holding up pretty well. But the play that really got me was when Joe Burrow was running out, and then Aaron Donald pushed him. And I think for some odd reason that play, it pretty much like galvanized him. You know how since that offensive line just got in his face and all this type of stuff, and I think that just really got him going to a second gear. Because after that, that's when he couldn't see the light of the day. And it's one of those things where I always get conflicted when I talk about the announcement of Cincinnati, because I used to always say, well, hey, you should have got Penei Sewell, like, you know, instead of Jamar Chase. But then it's almost like if they would have had Penei Sewell, they would have been a playoff team. Jamar Chase made them into a AFC Championship football team. Just the what he can do, and what you can see, and then the play, the fourth down play, where literally, if Joe Burrow had a fraction of a second, hell, maybe 1 second, and see how to I need to stop calling him that because he's a Super Bowl champion now. Jalen Ramsey, the Sass guard. How now the thing with that is he got torched on that play. If you ever seen that where Jamar Chase, he was about a mile away, and all he had to do was just throw it in a breadbasket. Game would have been over.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things where it's just like there is such a catch-22 where as far as we talked about because that was a big discussion going into the season. Hey, grab Penei Sewell instead of Jamar Chase. Like that was kind of it's stupid to do, but it actually works in their favor. But it's just it's just one of those games. And then I was impressed that because we always talk about even throughout the week as far as the contact with the wide receivers and the DBs, like they were gonna be, it could be a controversial PI call that could potentially change the course of this game, but they literally let them play, which was really surprising. Until that final drive, which was just like really.
And I knew that was coming.
Every play was like something, and man, poor Eli Apple.
Let me ask you a question. How did you feel? Like the whole game, they could have threw flags, and then all of a sudden, the game changed based upon some flags because I said that. I told my dad, I said, man, they not calling it, but they gonna mess around and call it the last 4 or 5 minutes and start throwing flags. How did you feel about that?
Well, I mean for me, I'm sorry, but for me, I kind of think that the referees didn't want to be the story of the Super Bowl. I mean, so I think that's part of the reason why they allowed them to play, because I mean, remember the last time the referees became the story of the game, and that was that Seattle versus Pittsburgh game. That was when the referees were the story of that game, and I think ever since then, when it comes to playoffs and Super Bowl, they did not want to be the story here. So the fact that they let things go was good, but I don't buy the fact that they called penalties down the stretch. I mean, here's the thing; those are penalties. I mean,
yeah, they were. Yeah,
they were penalties. I mean, it wasn't like the calls were bad. I mean, they basically committed those penalties. So I mean, so that's a case of discipline on the Bengals defense part, not to commit those penalties. Because I mean, you get that stop. I mean, 4 downs, then you have a chance to win it. So like I was stating earlier, they had multiple opportunities to win it. And let me just say one thing about the 4th down play that the Bengals had. They had 4th and 1, and they tried to pass the ball. Here's what I would have done. I would have did what Sean McVay did with Cooper Kupp on that 4th down and 1 that they had on that critical drive. I'd have ran a fly sweep with Jamar Chase and let him get the 1st down, because I believe he would have gotten that 1st down, and the chains have still been moving. That's what I would have done instead of the play they tried to run where Joe Burrow almost gets sacked and he throws the ball and it becomes incomplete.
Again, no, that's why I said in that 3rd quarter, I kept saying, y'all got control of the game. Like, why are you throwing? It really changed the whole dynamic of the game that they were throwing. I'm like, you up. Like, run the ball, man. Play with the time. Run the ball. And I was like, it's 3 and out. I said, oh, man, they're giving them the game.
Yeah. And Joe Mixon was actually had 74 yards rushing in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have easily could have break 100 if they had kept running the ball.
Yeah, and that's the thing where their running game was successful compared to the Rams, where Cam Akers and they couldn't get nothing off that defensive line for Cincinnati.
I didn't really see much. I didn't see no play action. You know what I mean?
And in that final play, because I'm thinking to myself, I forgot, because they had all their timeouts, did they? Or maybe I forgot what was the circumstance with that. Like you said, like if it was a 4th and 1, I wouldn't even allow him to even, lead that line of scrimmage and do something. Because I'm like you said, that play would have been, he just threw it and, just willy-nilly. But, yeah, and that's That's just crazy. And that's one of the things where you look at, like, you really sit down and you think to yourself, that offensive line, like, yeah, but it's like that. But it is what it is. But it ended up just being a good game, and definitely huge shout out to the Rams and Matthew Stafford getting the ring. Definitely huge shout out to them and those guys. So, what my biggest fear about this game was the game lived up to the hype, and then also the halftime, because we obviously the star-studded halftime. Everybody was because my biggest fear is when there's a good halftime show, there's going to be a bad game. It's almost like statistically have been shown. Like, it's a few outliers, but this one was one of those. So, Gabe, what was your thoughts on the halftime show?
Halftime show was actually pretty good. I mean, it was better than I expected. I mean, the way I see it was basically taking me back to the days where music was music, in my view. Because I mean, like I say, today's music is god awful. That I mean now, so it's like just looking at the halftime show, seeing the Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, I mean, seeing Eminem and 50 Cent and Kendrick Lamar, which probably the only good rapper. I mean, one of the few good rappers out there in this day and age. And of course, 50 Cent and Mary J. Blige. I mean, it's just taking me back where, music was music. I mean, you always look forward to these artists when the album came out. I mean, nowadays it's like, yeah, whatever now. So, but I mean, but old 50, he gained a little weight there. I mean, he obviously don't look like he wasn't in the same shape he was when he did what was the video? Where he was on the treadmill in the club, yeah. So he doesn't look over there. That 50 Cent, he got he looked like he done gained some weight there, but overall, like I said, it was a great game. And of course, Mary J. Blige, she still has it. And I mean, of course, there was a little bit of politics with it because Eminem took the knee, and of course, it was said the NFL said nothing about it, but they tried to pressure Dre and Snoop Dogg to take some of the lyrics that they found offensive out of the show, but they end up saying it anyway. And they made a little bit of a fuss about it, but like I said, I actually enjoyed it. I mean, I've enjoyed a halftime show, and I came last time I've enjoyed a halftime show. So
and only you can talk about 50. Honestly, I'm not touching that, because if I'm Lord willing, if I can make the 46 years old and look like that, I'll take that any day of the week, 2 times on a Sunday.
Hey, can you see that conversation? Hey, 50 wants you to hang up. Are you sure? I don't know if I want to hang up. I hang up right now, man.
Only you can.
Look, halfway, he was like, the blood is rushing to my head. Hey, let me down. Let me down. Go.
Yeah. Only you can say that. Only you can talk about 50 like that, because I want to. I would be $1 at 46 for what he is.
Man, for me, I think it was more. It was extremely special to me because Snoop actually is the new owner of Death Row Records. So growing up and all the history and everything that they went through, and to in the end actually own, what I mean? It was times that they shot Death Row Records, shot at him, chased him, all type of crazy stuff. And to see that, it just felt like a triumph. Like they, what I mean? Like everything they went through, like, man, we on the Super Bowl Sunday halftime show. You know what I mean? And like, I ain't gonna front though. I was listening to Stephen A, and he ain't no lie. If Method Man would have came up them stairs with Mary J. Blige, I probably would have lost my mind just to hear that. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna front. That would have took it to a whole nother level, because that is one song. I know it ain't Dre, but I know that's one song that everybody hear that intro, everybody lose their mind. You know what I mean? But it was great, man. It went great. I mean, everything about the Super Bowl, man, from The Rock coming out, it just seemed like the energy was good. It just, you know what I mean? It was nothing too much negative. Even like I said, we talking about the flags. Nobody really cared. It was just a really good game, and we got to have a good time watching the about time our generation had a besides Beyonce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
About time, and Missy Elliott coming out. About time, we really had a halftime show for us. I'm 43, so it's about time. I remember when I was watching the Rolling Stones. I'm like, really, fellas? You know what I mean? I was like, my buddies was like, they older than me. They was like, somebody was upset that they didn't have nobody, But I was just excited, man. It just seemed like, all they work, like 50 Cent being one of the biggest producers in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Um, Definitely Eminem, and then Dre going through all his troubles. He was hospitalized too, and he looks real healthy. Just happy for him, man. And Snoop, man, I remember. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna stop. Let me go past. I remember when they tried to stop Snoop. He was on Arsenio Hall show, and they were trying to stop him because his Doggy Style album was so controversial. And to see where he at now, he is like probably the most iconic celebrity that's out there. And this dude was a gangster rapper that they was protesting and tried to stop. Like, who does not love Snoop Dogg?
Yeah.
Think about it. He can go anywhere with a blunt in his hand and smoke like he better smoke. You know what I mean? He probably go to Catholic church. Pope be right there, like, you know what I mean? You better light up. That's Snoop. You're not gonna stop Pope, man. That's Snoop. So it was great, man.
Yeah, it was. It lived up to the hype, and that's the thing where everybody was talking about the halftime show going into the week. Like we talked about even throughout the whole week. That was the biggest theme for me. Like, oh, let we know the halftime show could be good, but let the game be good. That was my biggest word, my biggest concern.
The biggest thing, right?
Yeah, but it lived up to the hype. Like you said, it was just it was great. Like you said, it's great for like our generation. It was a hip hop, it was a hip hop halftime show. Like you said, we've had cameo appearances by people, and they were just a part of it. But all of it was a collection. It was a collection of, like you said, of good music back in the days. Like you said, like go to your point, Gabe, where R.I.P. Sam Goody. You used to go like Sam Goody actually get CD and stuff like that, like those kind of, especially like especially like I remember when 50 came out, and I remember
the Wiz.
When 50 came out, and that's when I was like, oh yeah, I need to go to Sam Goody and get that album, CD or whatever, So that I mean it was great. Obviously, I for sure thought they was gonna have a hologram Tupac. When I heard I Ain't Mad at You, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, and then I was like, oh, it didn't happen. But hey, it still was straight though. I definitely love all that.
I like that they did. They kept it like, if you really watch it, they didn't go too far up and they didn't go too far down. They kept it very mellow.
Yeah.
And it went, you know what I mean? The way they kind of everything went together. They didn't go too hard, like, you know what I mean? Because they did that hologram, we'd have lost our mind.
Yeah, I think so.
And,
everybody, all of it, it was great. Like like Eminem, I love, because I always loved to Lose Yourself. I think for some odd reason that should be like a sports anthem. Like everybody should play that. When like intros, when people come out the field. Like I remember one time they had a montage when Texas, when they won their national championship, and they had like a montage like that, and I was like, oh man, everybody need to do that. When they were coming out the buses in Pasadena, I was like, everybody should have Lose Yourself as like their intro or whatever. That also Anderson .Paak on the drums, because it was funny because he was like, that's Anderson .Paak. And I was like, that show is on the drums.
He signed to Aftermath. Yep.
Yeah, because I was like that. And then obviously Snoop didn't disappoint, Mary J. It's funny because everybody was like, she played like no more drama. We was like, everybody, and it's funny because on social media, everybody was like, man, don't be playing that sad stuff, man. We out here drinking, we having a good time. You talking about that?
That's why I said, man. I feel Stephen A. If they'd have played, man, if Method Man would have came up them stairs, bro, I was like, oh no, he didn't. Oh man, we'd have lost our mind, bro.
And then obviously 50 being a surprise, and that's one thing too. we talked about like who's gonna be the surprise because I almost like I wish I should have betted because we were like I didn't even think about 50 because in my back of my mind I was thinking Rihanna for some bizarre reason. I was like Rihanna gonna come on Kendrick's set, and I like it was like, well, no, she's pregnant. I'm like, hey, Cardi B was pregnant, Beyonce was pregnant, like all of them was performing and it was pregnant. Not the Super Bowl, but just in general. So
yeah,
it actually it's a lot of stuff, especially now in this day and age, that don't live up to the hype. That literally lived up to the hype, because normally we always boost everything. Like everybody boosts everything, but this one actually lived up to the hype. Like we had the expectation, and it delivered the expectation to the T. Didn't
you think it was too short? I was like, damn, that was a fast 25 minutes.
Yeah, and that's funny because normally, because like when the Who played that year, it felt like forever, and because I think when the Who was it was in Miami. It was that New Orleans Colts Super Bowl, I think, and because we were out and we actually ordered food during halftime, and I think we got off food before the halftime show was over. Now, like it really felt like you said, it was really short. Like when you think about it, especially with all those acts, because you think about it, if you had an act like that lineup, that's all night. I
had a ball just watching the celebrities. Right. The celebrities was having a ball. I just wanted to be there with some apple juice, having a good time, just with some water like this.
Braun was on one. Braun was on one. Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody having fun, man.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think it was the best halftime show since the Prince halftime show.
Thank you. Yep. Since the Purple Rain.
Nothing. There ain't no halftime show, in my opinion, that's going to top Prince.
Thank you.
Well, it rained. It was Purple Rain, and it was raining. It was serious rock star stuff, man.
And that Super Bowl sucked. Remember, that Super Bowl sucked. That was the Colts and the Bears.
Which halftime show did Missy Elliott come out on, man? Was it Katy Perry?
I think.
I don't remember.
But you know who really mad about all this, and rightfully so. Atlanta's pissed because like
hey Gabe, he's instigating right now. He's instigating.
No, I didn't. You know what's so funny? I didn't think about this until, matter of fact, shout out to our guy Thad. We talked about this on Super Bowl Sunday. He was like, this type of lineup. It's like, why we got Maroon 5 in Atlanta? Like, you know what? No disrespect to Adam Levine, but my goodness, dude, like
please disrespect him, please.
Well, you gotta also remember now, the NFL, when it came to halftime shows, they were trying to keep it clean, quote unquote clean cut. They don't want another Janet Jackson debacle, so that's why they were trying to do things like keep artists that were less controversial or anything that would have like any kind of wardrobe malfunction or anything like that. So after that Janet Jackson Justin Timberlake debacle, they started being more clean cut, trying to get artists that are less controversial. I mean, the only reason we got the halftime show we got to credit Jay-Z for that.
Right.
We got to credit Jay-Z for that.
And I was shocked 2 years ago because remember that was the J-Lo and Shakira, and everybody was.
I remember that.
Kept on saying like, "Oh, that's." I had to turn the TV off because my children was watching and all that.
Yeah, they don't say that when they ain't say that when they on the American Music Awards when they doing the same steps.
Mm-hmm. Right, and then
J-Lo stay hosting that.
And What's Jig was a nice Super Bowl too. Super Bowl halftime, Justin Timberlake, the one in Minnesota, when that was one. That was nice. That was a good one too. Because I was like,
no, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead,
But it lived up to the hype. I'm like, what they gonna do in Arizona?
Damn, they're going to Arizona. And exhibit. I'm just kidding.
What's gonna be the halftime exhibit? No, I don't think.
Right. I don't know, man. But
LA,
I don't know, man. I felt like one thing about Dre, and when I think about that, at that time, I can go anywhere and everybody had that album. So like it could be people where we might not get along or something, but if they had the Chronic or Doggy Style, you know what I mean? And then M came, and then everybody loved Mary J. You know what I mean? Everybody loved Mary J. And then it's so weird. Years later, when 50 came out, it was the same. That was my first ringtone. You know what I mean? So In the Club was my first ringtone. I got my cell phone. I got from Radio Shack. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to work there. I used to work at Radio Shack. I worked there.
Boom, boom, and the fish used to move on my phone. Like, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like, wow, you know what I mean? It's like everybody listened to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that was when down south was getting big. You still had East Coast, you had West Coast. But everybody was really listening to down south. And then like when 50 came, he's from the East Coast, but he was from the West Coast, and it was like an album that everybody had. So if anything failed, you could play that. So for that to be there, I just felt like that's what Dr. Dre represents to me. Even though he West Coast, like he made music that everybody listened to. Everybody. Young, I'm telling you, man. Everybody had the Chronic. Everybody had Doggy Style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then everybody's great grandmother know who Snoop Dogg is, and they love him. You know what I mean? So it was just a great, man. It was really a great Sunday. Something that we needed.
Yeah, definitely. We needed that big time. So, fellas, shifting the talk now. So, obviously, there were tons of Super Bowl commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite Super Bowl commercial? What you got, Gabe? What you liked?
I'll admit most of them were kind of terrible in my view, but the one that I really liked, I actually liked the NFL Super Bowl commercial with the kids.
Yeah,
I mean, I enjoyed that one. I mean, the kids playing the video games, and then all of a sudden, all the players came out of the video games, and they started, trying to tackle one another. One of my favorite was they had Deion Sanders trying to tackle Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry giving that stiff arm. Almost similar to the one he gave Josh Allen in the game last year. And then the funny thing is, then he had the little baby came out when Peyton Manning got the ball. He's trying to tackle. Peyton Manning was a toy. He was trying to grab him, so Peyton throws the ball, and then Kyler Murray gets it, throws it to DeAndre Hopkins, and Troy Polamalu tackles him in the fishbowl. Yeah. But then of course, throughout that whole ruckus, they had the grandma, she's sitting there sleeping, and the ball goes into her mouth, and then she blows it out, and then everybody goes for it. But what I liked more than anything was the ending, where you had the late Walter Payton coming out there, scoring a touchdown, getting back in the game, and then everybody, goes back into the TV. Then the parents come out like, what's going on here? And then the brother points to the little sister, and then the grandma come out, football is what's going on. I enjoyed that one. That's probably one of the few that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah, and shout out to Chase Young. Chase Young had made a cameo appearance to hit that wall.
Yeah.
That would actually been the perfect like NFL 100 one. Bring if obviously 2 years ago when NFL 100. But so Meyer, your favorite Super Bowl commercial.
So, Coach, which one you think it is? Which one you think it is?
LeBron James.
Oh, why are you judging me? See, it ain't even.
I know you.
No, it's not, man. Don't even do it like that, man. We got company. Every time we get company, you do that.
You asked me the question.
So I got two.
Yeah.
Huh?
I actually like that commercial as well with LeBron.
Yeah. I got two. Definitely the LeBron one. I think it went well with the halftime show too. You know what I'm saying? Like, where he come from and where he going. So I definitely like LeBron. But no, mine was the Planters Peanut, the mixed nuts one. That was my favorite because everybody's getting along. So do you eat when you eat mixed nuts? What are you doing? He was like, I eat them all together. He was like, you eat all the mixed nuts together, really? And then everybody's like, no, I just put the cashews over here and then I eat them like this. And then everybody start hearing the conversation. Then all of a sudden, everybody start judging each other based upon their perception and their opinion. And then the whole world went chaotic.
Yeah.
It reminded me of something. I thought it was a great commercial. It was very deep. You know what I'm saying? So that was my favorite one. And Chris knows exactly what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
it basically, society is like that now.
Yeah.
You can have an opinion or a perspective and still be a great person, still this and that, and then people will hate you for it. You know what I mean?
Welcome to the internet.
So I felt like that was extremely brilliant. You know what I'm saying? Extremely brilliant. Like, you got couples, like old elderly couples, and this and that, and then all of a sudden they getting along, and then all of a sudden, like, ew, you eat all your nuts together at once? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I just thought it was brilliant.
My favorite one, and I think what made it so favorite for me, because no one really got it initially, because obviously, I had my uncles over, to watch Super Bowl, so it was Rocket Mortgage. It was a commercial about the dollhouse, and pretty much, so it had like a story of the Barbie. She found him home and then realized, hey, it's on the market, and then there's other people who bidding for it. Like, what is it? Better Offer Betty. That would be 10 times the asking price, and then cash only Carl, who will pay the house in straight cash. And I think no one really got it. That's what made it so funny, because I was like the only one that was laughing. They were like, "What's going on?" Like, yo, it is hilarious. That Rocket Mortgage commercial was hilarious. And it's just like it is one of those things where it just shows you like how cutthroat the house market can be, as far as it's concerned. So it's real, but it's sad, but it's funny. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of one of the things where it's just like, it's
Coach,
hilarious. Like,
you was my roommate for a while, and you just have dark humor. You have extremely dark humor. That's your problem. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, it's one of those things where I initially I got it. That's the thing about the commercials,
right?
Like, especially when you're around other people, like, sometimes you have to, like, some people aren't gonna, it's gonna go over their head. And then what's funny about the dollhouse is it kind of almost mimicked how the halftime show was, because that really was nothing but like a Barbie house, essentially.
Right, it was.
That's why I found it so funny about like the kind of the correlation between the halftime show and then actually the Rocket Mortgage commercial. It was hilarious, yo.
Right.
I still trip off it like 3 days later, but yeah. Better Offer Betty. Cash out for Carl. Like, bro, it's funny. And it's like, and then the girl said, "Oh no." It's hilarious.
I'm only laughing because you laughing, man. It sounds horrible. Right. It sounds horrible, actually. And you like,
matter of fact, if we got time after the show, I'll show you. It's only like a minute long, but anyway. So the NFL season has come to an end, so we definitely gotta recap the season. So, fellas, scale of 1 to 10, rank this 2021 NFL season. What you got, Gabe?
I give it a 12. I mean, I think this was one of the best seasons, that I've seen in quite some time. I mean, the quarterback play was off the charts. I mean, a lot of the games, came down to, the final play. So I actually enjoyed the season. I look forward to, almost, every week. Of course, for me as a Niner fan, there were times where things would look like it was going south. And then we got that victory over the Rams on Monday Night Football, and then the season started turning around. And of course, we had to play one game to get into the playoffs. So, but other than that, think about the quarterback play. What this showed was what we're going to see for the next 10 to 15 years. And the AFC is loaded with quarterbacks. You have, like I said, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. And if things get together, Trevor Lawrence, I think is going to be in that conversation. If I miss anybody, then of course, in the AFC and NFC, Tom Brady, he had, at 44 had one of his best, probably his best season statistically in his whole career. He passed for like over 5,000 yards and had the most completions of any quarterback. And of course, Aaron Rodgers, is, being Aaron Rodgers, despite all the
MVP.
controversy, I mean, he's still, won his second straight MVP. So you got, and of course, also the rookie quarterbacks. I mean, you saw, why, some teams like to, sit them down early before you play them. Of course, on my team, we did that with Trey Lance. He did get 2 games in, but you saw with the rookie quarterbacks why, I mean, them going through the growing pains. Trevor Lawrence, was terrible because he had a terrible team. I mean, you saw Justin Fields, he went through his struggles. Zach Wilson with the Jets, he went through his struggles. But overall, I mean, I think it was a great season. And like I said, I think we're going to see seasons like this going forward, probably for the next 10 plus years.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you got, Maui?
He gave it a 12. I gave it oh yeah, Gabe. I also said when we did our review over the summer that the 49ers, if they're healthy, they was gonna be dangerous. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah.
True story. I gave it an 8.5. I felt like because this was like the first year they had the longer season, I felt like I want to give it could be higher. It could easily be 9 or 10 because a lot of the teams that didn't do well in the beginning of the season actually really started doing well towards the end of the season. You know what I mean? And like you said, it was teams like people was dogging, like, oh man, they horrible, like Miami. And then all of a sudden they just start winning games. You know what I mean? So you definitely see a transition of things. You know what I really liked about this season was the defense wasn't a lot of helmet to helmet hits, and they're actually really are transitioning where they're starting to be able to strip the ball better. Have you noticed that? Remember when a lot of guys was head hunting and this and that, and they were so depressed because they wasn't able. They say I've always taught to hit like this, but now I'm starting to see they starting to be able to strip the ball a little bit more. So it is transitioning. So I give it an 8.5, 9. I was satisfied. I think that they're on the right track. All the games was entertaining. You know what I mean? Extremely. Like some teams, like some teams would be sorry and they wouldn't get blown out. They really were trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
think Detroit was the best. I think Detroit Lions was the best example. I mean,
Chicago too.
I mean, they were their record was bad, but they were in every game. I mean, Dan Campbell brought those boys to play. I mean, I think they could have easily won another 3 or 4 games. I mean, throughout the season, but they just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, they tied with my team. So.
Yeah, and that was by far the most bizarrest, ugliest game. Like,
they cheated. They cheated for the Steelers. They cheated for the Steelers. Man. I remember that. But, being honest with you, they did. They cheated for them.
Yeah. I would say I would give it about a 9. I say a solid 9. I think it lived up to the hype. Like the 18 game regular season, I think everybody was so cautious about the 18 games, like, would it help injury wise or whatever? But actually, in essence, kind of helped a lot of situations. I look at like the Rams getting the guys like a Cam Akers back, JJ Watt came back for Arizona. So, I just think about just those examples here and there. All the games for the most part were good. The primetime games, I know week 18 lived up. It's by far was probably the best week of the NFL season was week 18, especially with the playoff implications and just how they scheduled everything. I think like the NFL just gets it right for some bizarre reason, year in, year out. They just get it right. They have the ultimate reality television show, and everything is just feel like it's just so meticulously planned. They know what they're doing when it comes to, when they just these matchups and what have you, at the end of the game, at the end of the season, where who would have thunk, like, especially like y'all, I think about that game. It's funny because that 4:00 window to the Sunday night game was just intense. Like it's a bunch of scoreboard watching in at week 18. So that just made it exciting. Like, so pretty much, hey, all the bad games, you start at 1:00. Washington, the Giants, y'all play at 1:00. Make room for San Francisco and LA. Like, so it was a great season. Like you
Yeah.
said, the quarterback play, like you said, just the new young stars in this league where, we look at guys like talk about, obviously Patrick Mahomes, he's there. Joe Burrow, another guy, who I think is going to be the next emerging star. And you really got to see, like you said, that rookie class wasn't hyped up as it should be. Like, I mean that it was initially. Everybody was thinking that these were a bunch of guys that were gonna, do some stuff in this league, and none of them. And then think about the rookie wide receivers. I mean, they've done tremendous. Look at like Jamar Chase. He's a all-pro wide receiver. Like, him, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, a lot of those guys, they pay dividends for their teams from a wide receiver perspective. So that was kind of we knew that going into the draft that was going to be a really rich class as far as depth wise, and they actually lived up to their hype. But yeah, overall good season, and it's like it was any given Sunday. We've had situations where Jacksonville beat Buffalo, where the other Josh Allen outdueled the quarterback Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So like these type of things, you just never know. Any given Sunday, things just happen, and it was brilliant. And like you said, even seeing and this the storylines that happen. Like obviously, Kansas City starting 3-4. Oh, they're done. They're this dynasty is over. And people call it a dynasty. That's another thing too. Is like they've only won one Super Bowl, even though granted they went at that time 3 straight AFC Championship games. But that storyline and just a lot of it, just and then just the rise of the Bengals making it to the Super Bowl. We went from the team that we didn't think they was gonna win a playoff game, much less win, make it all the way to the Super Bowl. So
right,
it was great stories, and then also the Rams how they got there as well, because a lot of people looked at Tampa, a lot of people looked at Green Bay as well as
right.
contenders. And think about it, both number one losing in the divisional round, like
Yeah.
and that could potentially and it's funny because it is getting those, before the playoff format changed, you got that 1 or 2 seed. It's almost like either one of them was gonna make the Super Bowl. It was almost like a guaranteed in. But now it's like, you look at those, and then we had a Monday Night Football wild card game.
Yeah.
In LA, of all places, the star of all stars, and it's that was a good game though. It wasn't a good game, but it's just one of those things where it's like a Monday Night Football primetime playoff game. I like do that every year.
Yeah.
Do that every single year. Do that every single year. So, but let's gotta go around the horn. So, your favorite moment of the NFL season? I'm gonna go with you.
Favorite moment? There were probably quite a bit, but I would have to say I guess I'm gonna be a little biased here because this is my team, but I gotta go with the last like I say week 18. I mean the Niners they were down 17-0, could get nothing going, and then next they got the field goal at the end of the half, and then they tied the game twice to go into overtime, kick the field goal, and then the rookie Aubrey Thomas, intercepts a Matthew Stafford pass. It was meant for Odell Beckham Jr. Get the interception that seals the game, in overtime. And because we lose that game, we're on the couch. So that's why.
Right.
So we got in there and got in the playoffs, and then showed why. Like you said, and I even said this even on my podcast, that if the Niners get in the playoffs, they'd be the most dangerous team in the NFC. And they proved that. And like I say, I think should have been the ones holding up the Lombardi Trophy. So that's why I say that's one of my favorite moments, because I was really frustrated watching that game. And I was like, come on. But even as frustrated as I was, I'm thinking, I still believe that we still have a shot. So I kept watching, even though we're down 17 to nothing was going right. But I just, hung in there. It almost reminded me of, when back in, I think it's 2013, when the 49ers played the Falcons. And I mean, in the NFC Championship game, I was at that game, of course. And they were down 17 to nothing. Yeah, they were down 17 to nothing. And then, they came back and won the game. Cap was the quarterback, and they ended up going to the Super Bowl. So I kind of had that feeling. So that's why I'm going to say that's my favorite moment of the season.
Yeah. And you know what I found funny about going into that Week 18 game? The question was about Kyle Shanahan. Is he on the hot seat? And I'm thinking to myself,
nah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, someone asked me, and I'm like, I don't necessarily think so. I think if Trey Lance struggles, then I think he would be on a hot seat. But I think even if he didn't make the playoffs, I still think he'd been fine. Like, trust me,
he would have been fine.
He's a Shanahan. He's okay.
Yeah. Well, Trey Lance is going to open up. Yeah, but Trey Lance is going to, keeps Kyle Shanahan employed for at least 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let you know that right now, because now that Super Bowl window just reopens again, that he's starting, because, what this does now is he has 2 years to develop him as into a starting quarterback. And I think this will be his greatest legacy. I mean, that, and of course, winning a Super Bowl or 2.
Yep. Mal, your favorite moment?
I got you. Gabe, I think y'all would have won if Jimmy G would have went and called Hammer and got some dance move and learn how to move his feet.
Yeah.
And learn how to do the running man, the Roger Rabbit, the Bartman, something. Goodness gracious.
I mean, he's a statue. He's a drop back.
You can't do that in this league now. You got to you ain't got to, if Tom Brady's getting 20 yards a game, and he's a pocket quarterback, he's trying to tell you something. Can't do that anymore. You know what I mean? Got to move your feet. I whole time like Jimmy G. Please move your feet. Please learn from last game. Move your feet. But I got plenty. I had a bunch of moments. Definitely, I'm a Steeler. I love the very first game of the season when they went up against the Bills. I think they were down like maybe 17 or something, and they came back in the second half and beat them. A lot of moments with TJ Watt. Definitely, clutch guy. You know what I mean? There was times that, he just not on his shoulders. In the game against the Seahawks, game against the Bears. It's a lot of moments, man. But I'm going to be honest, guys. One of my big moments is controversial. No disrespect to anybody, but definitely all the information based upon Gruden and the emails. Oh, I loved every minute of it. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, B. It was great.
And the irony of that is that he gets fired on Monday night. The night, as far as him synonymous on Monday Night Football, it's almost like crazy.
There should be a documentary or reality show or show just based upon this year of the coaches. What's the dude from Jacksonville? Urban
Meyer. Yes.
Oh my God, him getting caught in a bar with his hand in a girl's pants. Slim. The most petty old guy ever. Bill Belichick accidentally texting the wrong Brian. Come on, B. These are great moments. Let's go NFL. Let's do it. That's great.
That's why we call it the greatest soap opera.
Reality show on Earth,
bro. When we could sit there and just talk about NFL negative, and then we'd be like, "What the hell going on with Deshaun Watson? What's going on?" But definitely, bro.
He might be going to Minnesota or Tampa. I'm like, don't let him go to Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell. Oh Lord, it's a wrap.
But
if he does that means that he's going to move on from Kirk Cousins. He doesn't think Kirk Cousins is a long-term answer.
And I was hoping that move I think that was going to keep Kirk in Minnesota, honestly. But that's interesting. That would be interesting if they do get if Minnesota do get Deshaun Watson. It'd be interesting.
But for me, definitely that moment right there, with Gruden. Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just being honest with you. That's one of my favorite moments. You know what I mean. And I like Gruden, but then all of a sudden, nobody likes Gruden. You know what I mean?
Right.
The next day on
Rightfully so.
ESPN, everybody. Come on, when we talk about Gruden, when he was on ESPN, everybody act like they liked him. He was always positive about every person he talked about. But when that happened, boy, you talk about being by yourself. Oh, I knew something was wrong with him. But yeah, but that's my favorite moment of it.
Yeah. I have multiple ones,
Yeah.
but the number one, and obviously the number one moment in mine is November 14th, 2021. Tom Brady, in his last appearance at FedEx Field, gets
Oh yes, I forgot about that one.
crushed by the artist formerly known as the Washington Football Team.
Oh man, I wouldn't talk about that one. Come see, I'm
Yeah.
going to the bathroom.
So I'm telling you, that was such a great game. It was almost like it was literally a playoff match. Obviously, last in 2020, Tom Brady came to FedEx and actually beat us on his way to the Super Bowl. I just loved it, and that was one of the things where you look at how we took care of business. Everything, we hit every cylinder coming off that bad week. Our pass defense was great. We frustrated Brady the whole entire time. The only sad thing about it, the situation, Chase Young got hurt in that game. But then that fourth quarter, and I kept on saying, we got. And what ended up happening, they had a 10-minute drive and they ended up winning that football game 29-19. And what would be Tom Brady's final appearance in FedEx Field, we finally beat the GOAT. Finally.
Gabe, see what I have to go through?
Yeah, I see.
But like
But
I
hey,
said,
that's a good point now. I mean, you got to think.
It was awesome.
Because you got to think, I mean, what carried over from the playoff game, I mean, that carried over from the playoff game where they basically had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the ropes in the playoffs the year before. So that was a carryover.
Yeah.
I loved it because that team showed so much fight and resolve in that game. It could have been, and Tom Brady, I thought for sure he was going. I thought, in 2019 we played him. I thought that was the last time we would see Tom Brady at FedEx. I did not think he was going to go to the NFC. And then when I seen he went to Tampa, I was like, we might have to see him a couple times. But but we beat the GOAT. We beat it. So hey, I can have solace to the fact of, hey, last time that Tom Brady went to FedEx, we laid the wood on him. Pause.
You really think he ain't coming back?
The thing is this. Tom Brady, he just need to make a decision. Like, I'm to a point where that's annoying because, especially for Tampa Bay, I'm telling you, he needs to let them know March 15th at 11:59 before the league new year, because you cannot hold Tampa Bay by hostage. They need to move on from a quarterback. They got situations in place where they need to get a quarterback. They're not going to hunt with because it ain't Blaine Gabbert their backup quarterback, or Cal Trask. Wow,
I think Cal Trask.
Cal Trask, yeah, either or. They need to figure this out, and Tom Brady needs to say, "Hey, I'm gone at least before the league new year," because you can't hold this team hostage, especially for a gap. Especially they need to get a quarterback. Like they said, if they're in Deshaun Watson, they're in the discussion. Deshaun Watson, hey, they need to know. And Tom Brady come back, I'm like, dude, and he got a short window too, because dude, he could be 45 years old in August. He can't just like, oh well, next year I'm coming back, dude. You could be 46 years old. Like, and you're off for
He should have been MVP.
He's pulling Aaron Rodgers, basically. I mean, Aaron Rodgers held the Packers hostage until preseason?
Right. You're right. And I think that'd be such a disservice to those areas in that staff. Like, as far, and even like a Brian Leftwich, who end up coming back. Like, That's another thing too, and I don't even want to even open up that can of worms. That's just that BS with that situation with Jacksonville. How they dropped that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I got one more moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady going back to New England.
Yeah.
And everybody loved him. I like everybody, even the taco vendors, everybody. And then Bill Belichick give him the worst, like, you know what I mean? Like, that was everybody literally embracing me, and Bill's like, man, whatever, get out of my face. Like, you know what I mean? That was a great moment.
I was glad he missed that field goal. I was like, yes. Because it's like, dude, Belichick be so petty. I'll be like, dude.
Yeah, he petty, man. I'm still thinking he texted him on purpose. I'm sorry. And my only argument is that was the week that everybody was supposed to be talking about Tom Brady because he retired. Matter of fact, on Undisputed, Skip and Shannon were laughing at each other. It was like, dang, that's crazy. We supposed to be talking about Tom Brady this first thing this morning, but what are we talking about? Like,
and that was just one of the things where, like,
I know.
Yeah, to me, it's just like that whole Giants thing. We all knew who they was gonna hire, and it's just like, I mean,
who do you think you text? Who do you think you're talking to?
Like, we knew who was gonna get that job. We knew Brian Daboll would get that job. It was almost right.
I would have loved to see Belichick say, "Hey, who do you think you're talking to? Brian."
No, it's just but that lets you know, hey, you need to see that. You need to be responsible when it comes to technology. Like,
hey,
especially when you at a certain
age. Belichick.
Right.
We all been there, player. We all been there.
No, you need your context need to be clear. That's a cautionary tale. If you got two Bryans or whoever in your name that's the same, you need to put a parentheses behind that person or what the significance is. I'm just saying that's a cautionary tale.
Don't think you do?
One should have been. Yeah, one should have been Brian. One should have been Brian D, and one should have been Brian F.
That's what I'm trying to say. You think he just got Brian in there?
Because if he was meaning to text Dayball, but he text Flores,
You think he got Bleed? What's the dude's name from the Giants? What's his name?
Brian Dayball.
So you think he got B? Be out, man.
He should have said Brian D, like you said, like you gave Brian D and Brian F. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Separate the two because, like you're saying, it's just like anything. I'm just like that's a cautionary tale. Like, but people, I especially for a guy like him, because you think about Belichick is like almost in his 70s. He might be pushing 70. Come to think about it. No, I'm just saying.
Because I'm just sitting here thinking about myself. Bill Belichick, football coach GOAT, right? You have to after this happened, I'm going to say, hey man, you have horrible cell phone skills. Right. So let me explain to you what you need to do. Like, you know how after the pandemic, a lot of your family members or older people start getting on Facebook and Zoom and stuff, and you got to teach them. And they were like, man, I put a comment on there and all these people cussing at me and being all mean to me. Like, yeah. So you got to understand every time you put a comment that you open up and people can say something.
Right.
So you have to understand, Bill, Mr. Belichick, is every time you send something, make sure you proofread and you send it to the same person. Because you kind of started something really big. You know what I mean?
Especially considering the fact that Bill is so meticulous and so attention to detail. That's what makes it be like, really? Like, you do everything. And dude, I swear to you, Bill Belichick know everything. He'll remember a coverage that happened in like 9. But he don't know. He can't do the difference between who Brian Daboll and Brian Flores is. Bro.
Hey, more and more he's talking. I was like, I'm telling y'all.
You know what?
The weirdest feeling he did it on purpose. Yeah. Because he's a petty dude. He's never going to get in trouble. He's never the one at fault at anything. Yeah. Right? every Spygate, this and that. Oh, it wasn't my fault. That was Josh.
Yeah.
That was talk to. You know what I mean? Come on, man. You know he got B Floyd. They don't even talk like that. I bet you he called Brian. I bet you he called all of them by their last name.
He probably does. He probably does.
I bet you that's in his phone, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah, if you think about it, he kind of, just that alone, he kind of reminds you, of Johnny, from Cobra Kai, who basically was, behind in all the times he had to have, the young guy, Miguel Diaz, show him all the, the Facebook and all the social media. That's what Belichick is. He's basically like, Johnny from Cobra Kai.
Yeah, he has like he got that robot thing, and I bet you in his phone. Okay, give you example. When we was on the road, Chris, Crystal, what did she call you?
Kapow.
What's your last name?
Powell.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Most people call you Chris Coach, right? She called you Kapow, and with your last name. And I believe in his phone, it's their last names because he probably called them by their last name.
Yeah.
I bet you.
Yeah.
I bet you. That's why I was sitting here like, oh, and I just remember watching Skip and Shannon look at each other like, wow, we supposed to be talking about Tom Brady when we talk about this, when this is really, it's a bigger subject, but this is really a Bill Belichick mess up that nobody really want to say. Did this motherfucker do this shit on purpose? Anyway,
so we talk about our favorite moment. We gotta rehash some stuff. What was your first, Gabe? What's your worst moment?
Worst moment? I got a couple actually. I think I'm gonna start with in week 18. This is the Giants taking on the Washington football team. You 3rd and 9 from the goal line, and they're gonna get a quarterback sneak. Right then and there, John Meyer should have fired Joe Judge on the spot. That's what you call losing football. What is it you're telling your team? When you at 3rd and 9 at near your goal line and you go for a quarterback sneak, what are you telling your team? You're basically telling your team that I don't care. I don't care about this game. I don't care about you guys. You're just gonna run this play. Right there. The player should have been like, we can't play for this guy no more. John Meyer should have fired that guy. Soon as halftime rolled around, because that's just an insult to the players and even the fans that you're not trying to pick up a first down or even try winning the game. So I think that was probably one of the worst moments I've ever seen. This season and probably in football in quite some time. I think another worst moment it's got to be Urban Meyer. Thursday night game. They lose the game, and he doesn't ride back with the team. He goes right back to Ohio, and of course, gets caught like you said with his hand in a girl's clothes, and and gets caught. So
crazy.
Right there, Shaq Khan should have fired him. As soon as he got back into Jacksonville, because how does that look to the team? Make it seem like you don't care about this team. Because you got beat. What kind of coach does that to his players? I'm sure he lost the locker room after that. He had to have, because how can you trust a guy when he's with you when you win, but when you lose, he skips out on you.
He wants to.
So that's why I think that was one of the worst moments, along with what the Giants did against the Washington football team last game of the season. You're basically telling your team, I don't care about wins or losses or what happens next year. So it seems like he wanted to get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was funny. I was like, Are they going for it? At first, I thought they were taking a knee, and I'm like, hold on, what's going on? Because the formation almost looked like taking a knee, and I'm like, why are they doing a quarterback sneak? Like, I mean, let's just run the ball because I mean, obviously they knew they weren't going to get they weren't going to get the first down. So, and they didn't want. I know they didn't want to lose the football because they were so so deep in their own zone. So, yeah, that was ridiculous. But yeah, Urban Meyer, man, he wanted to see that man wanted to see his grandkids, man.
Okay,
Bet he
fine.
did.
I mean, but think about it. You had from Thursday
I know.
to Tuesday. I mean, he could have. I mean, once he going right back with the team. I mean, everybody's going to get that extra week, so he could have gone and visit the grandkids afterwards. But still, I mean, his first commitment is the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, and you have an obligation to that team.
Right.
That's wild. I still can't get the fact that, and that's crazy because everybody say the coaches fly back regardless. It's like they say this is unheard of. I'm like, yo, that's wild. Like that they even allow that man to actually, like you said, he back with them and then flew back to Ohio Friday. Because like you said, they would have had the whole weekend and they would have had did their own thing. That's what's like. I'm like, why would you do that? Like that just don't sound right. Like, dude, like that was weird.
But he basically showed that he wasn't built for the NFL. I mean, it's just that simple. Like majority of the college coaches that have come and failed. I mean, he just wasn't built because they're so used to these cupcake teams that they have 4 or 5 cupcakes a year. But in the NFL, I mean, he even said this when they played Denver that there's a lot of Alabamas. I mean, in the NFL, but the fact of the matter is he couldn't take the fact that he has to. You're not going to win every game in the NFL,
right?
But you got to play like you're going to try to win every game in the NFL. I mean, it's not like you got. I mean, there are no cupcakes in the NFL, even if they 0-15.
Right. And for him to say that,
go ahead.
But for him to say that has produced so many NFL talent, that's the thing that got me like, are you like? And I can understand if he was a guy that didn't, like if he was just a college coach that maybe had like maybe 4 or 5 prospects here and there. Dude, you churn out so many guys. You done churned out from Florida, Bowling Green, Utah, obviously with Alex Smith. That you churned out, and you talk about the NFL that they ain't Alabama. We play Alabama every week. Ohio State, and you the Ohio State coach. Have your rosters in the NFL that you recruited. I'm like that's.
Well, there's a difference between coaching, 18 and 20-year-olds and grown men, that make millions of dollars.
And make more money than you do.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. And don't disrespect. Is he really coaching them? Because he has top guys. You know what I mean? Is he really coaching them? Like he already got some of the best talent at Ohio State when he was coaching them. Is he really coaching them? You know what I mean? No disrespect. But sometimes when you see a person like, okay, I'm a Steeler, right? Steelers been struggling the last few years. Mike Tomlin is really showing you that he's a great coach because he doesn't have the talent he used to have. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you have the best talent, it ain't all about coaching. It's basically you got the best talent that's out there. No, I'm not saying I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying you come. They paid him. I know they paid him a lot of money because it's based upon his name and what he's done when he was in college. But what bothers me, he clearly did not want to be there. You know what I mean? He didn't want to be there. You could tell. He didn't want to be there, but you can't turn down the money. You know what I mean? But my worst moment is it's not it's the Brian Flores. I think that's one of the worst moments. Like we just saying, Urban Meyer really didn't want to be there, but that was an opportunity of maybe an African American having that job that wanted the job, that wanted the challenge. You know what I mean? But you hired this guy based upon his name and his record, what he did, whatever else. But he basically it's an insult to the NFL. It was an insult to those players. It's an insult to those players that's trying to succeed because now we've been really talking about contracts and incentives. You know, if you're not coaching these guys and doing such thing, they can't get these numbers. So then they can't win or can't get their contract like they want. You know what I mean? So it's a disservice. It's deeper than that. It's a real disservice. So that's one of my worst moments. And it's, you know, I was gonna make some jokes about some other things, but that was one of the worst moments to me. You know what I mean? We joked last time about Bill Belichick doing it, but that was one of the worst moments. But it's something that definitely need to be talked about. That you got these coaches based upon their name, and you bring them in, and then they don't really. It's not fair to the players and definitely the fans that these guys, you paying them all this money and they're not giving it the effort, because he clearly didn't give it the effort. And if people talk about it, they're probably going to say he shouldn't have been here because he didn't want to be here anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the simple fact is also, I mean, the problem with why college coaches fail in the NFL is because they don't understand that it's a players' league. I mean, like I said, everybody knows they're gone before the players go. And I mean, in college, they got a lot of control. I mean, they don't have that kind of, they think they can come in the NFL and you know, and insert that kind of control to these grown men making more money than they are. Guys, and everybody knows in today's NFL, hard coaching, guys will say, "I'm out."
Yep.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and let this guy yell and scream in my face.
Or smack you in the helmet.
This ain't the era of, you know, the 80s and 90s with Parcells and Mike Ditka.
Yes.
I mean, who get in your face and you have to take it and like it. Players ain't today's NFL. They don't that kind of coaching. Them boys will be calling their agent and said, "Look, I want to be traded."
Right. Yeah, you really should want to stop doing that anyway, because if the NFL player is different than just like they can be very insecure and emotional, and damn near psychological, like psychotic. You know what I mean? To be able to play that game. So, and then, you know, this 2022, a lot of them do come from gang lifestyle and things of that nature. So it's certain stuff that you can't do. And some of them actually, I hate to say that, they grew up at a place where they don't see a lot of different, or they dealt with some type of racism or something like that. So sometimes when you talk to them, matter of fact, Gabe, when we was on the road, there's a young lady by the name of, her name was Crystal, and she was our boss. And she left us and went to another team. There was a really nice guy there. He was from New Orleans. One thing people from New Orleans say, they always say, "Hey, baby." You know what I'm saying? It's just a part of how they talk, you know? So she got mad at him and cussed him out because she said, "Don't fucking call me a baby." You know what I mean? And he went off on her because where he from, that's how they talk. You know what I mean? He didn't mean it in no disrespect. So, but when you hear a certain person call you a boy or a certain tone, that can trigger something inside you. And you have to be, I'm telling you, when it comes to NFL players, you have got to be very, very careful because they can just like that. Yeah. I'm talking about NFL. We talking about football players. You know what I mean? Wait, Chris.
And yeah, like you said, and when it comes, like we said, it's a players' league. So if a player, say for instance, if you're a genius guy, you develop this great plan for this quarterback, and say all of a sudden the quarterback doesn't want to run those type of plays no more, and then that said quarterback is, and then it's fired, and then the son gets fired. He lives a happily ever after life in Santa Clara. So yes, you're right to prove your point. Hey, that's why essentially, even though Cal had a few stops, he had a cup of coffee in Cleveland and obviously in Atlanta, but you know, his roots was there, and that was a similar situation. And hey, the quarterback wanted to do something different. The boy wanted a genius, and all his geniusy friends all pretty much say, "Hey, we're out," you know. So that's why Cal's in Santa Clara.
Hey, glad to have him, as I said. Glad to have him.
Glad to get it to you, you know.
Yeah. You sound a little bitter there, Coach.
No, but it's actually proving Gabe's point. I just want to just emphasize his point to show that
I
it is a
got you.
players' league, even to this day. Even though that's been 9 years ago, but it still reigns to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, the day after Christmas, that Sunday night football game, that massacre, Washington, Dallas. It was one of those, and it's the crazy thing about all the type of stuff when it comes to these. I'm not sure how you handle like blowout losses, but part of me is like I still wanted to watch the game. It was almost like my glutton for punishment. Almost like you know how like you on the highway and you seen an accident, a real bad accident, and then you just rubbernecking because like a part of you's like, okay, I got enough time to watch the 10 o'clock news because the 10 o'clock news came on.
Dramatic.
Should I watch the 10 o'clock news or continue to watch this? I took it out for a brief second.
He's so dramatic.
It was like 56-7, and I was like, I mean, I think it was like 49-7, and then it ended up scoring again, ended up being 56-7. We was almost getting beat by 50 points, but thank God that John Bates scored that touchdown in garbage time to make it 56-14, because that would have been a 50-point game, and that was so embarrassing. Because first of all, like it was because 2 weeks prior to we played them, and it was an ugly game as well too, but we kind of fought back. This one was ugly from the start. I think our second play of the first possession, we get an interception by Aiden's dad, and then all of a sudden, then this whole everybody blowing up this whole Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne fiasco and sidelines, which probably was the best defensive player in that game altogether, was a fight on the sidelines. And thank God that Jonathan Allen did not connect to Deron Payne's face, because we probably would have embarrassed somebody on that team that night. Because the way Jonathan Allen with that force, he would have killed that man. But thank God that didn't connect. So it would have compounded, made the night if he would have connected to Deron Payne's face.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that game was pretty bad. I mean, I think I was in Virginia. I was in Virginia. I mean, when I was watching that game, and I think I left after the second. I think close to the second quarter, almost on the end of the second quarter, I left that game. It's like this is terrible. This game's a joke.
I watched a little bit of it. I mean, it's like, look, I need to go back just in case if we scored or whatever. But it's just like it was horrible. Like losing like that sucks. Like I really like people say loss is a loss, but no, not when you get beat by almost. That hit different.
Yeah, man. Like Ben Roethlisberger last game, right? Oh, he's retired. Blah blah. I'm sitting here like, man, he's great. I said, do y'all know he had 99 yards? Come on, man. Like, 99 yards? What?
You know what? I don't even put that loss on y'all. I put the loss on the Colts, because the Colts should have been in that. And Ben should have just rolled off the sunset in Baltimore. And he should have just rolled off in the sunset. That was a hell of a game for him to finish in overtime. That should have been it. But no,
it's like watching
right.
It's like watching a boxing match, and you see a person like, this dude got a lucky punch, and then he about to go fight Mike Tyson in the tough man competition where there's no weight classes, and he 142 pounds.
It was Jacksonville's fault. Because they shouldn't have had no business. They shouldn't have had no business beating the Colts, because the Colts was a shoe-in to make it in the playoffs.
They was mad. They was happy.
You could also blame the Raiders and the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers were not tying the game.
Yes, right, because they would because the Colts would have got in.
That's right.
And the Chargers would have got in. That's right. That's right.
The Chargers and the Raiders would have both got in the playoffs. If they had went for the Chargers went for the tie,
right? And Brandon Staley, like an idiot, threw he called a timeout. I'm like, why would you call a timeout with like 30 seconds to go? They ran in bounds. Obviously, they gonna let you. They gonna let you get in this game. They gonna let you play. I mean, so and that right. And I'm just thinking to myself, Steelers shouldn't even made the playoffs for real.
Man,
Like,
y'all gonna stop doing that, man.
No, because
Y'all making all this
Ben.
distraction. He got 99 yards.
And he shouldn't even
You
been
got
playing
Tom
in that game.
Brady, 46 years old, out there pop locking, break dancing, sliding, running, throwing hits, throwing bombs, MVP.
Right.
And Ben is 6'9". You know what I mean?
His offensive line is
99 yards. I was sitting here like,
he'll eat avocado ice cream, and his offensive line is horrible.
Well, not only that, Ben Roethlisberger's been on a downhill spiral for the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, he's even contemplating retirement, almost similar to what Brett Favre did for the last 3 or 4 years in Green Bay. He was always talking about retirement and things like that until Green Bay finally forced his hand and said we're gonna go with Aaron Rodgers.
Right. So like for me, as being a Steeler, like they had to see it. They shouldn't have gave him this last contract they had. They should have definitely tried to go out there and get a quarterback. He's been in for so long. They've actually drafted quarterbacks, and them quarterbacks end up leaving the team, going somewhere else and out the league. What the fuck? You can use that draft pick for something else, Well,
we'll see what they do with this draft pick because I mean, you're looking at Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins. You got to be looking at them and be like, yeah, okay.
Gabe, we was cool, man. I was always sticking up for you and everything. Okay,
I'm just being truthful. I'm just being truthful. But I mean, we all know the thing about the Steelers is they usually go out and draft guys. They don't usually take free agents, so they usually build within. So
I had heard Aaron Rodgers was thinking about it.
Hey, who's going to say no to that?
Cal Pickett, they gonna be the next one.
Yeah, I mean he's right in the back. He's right in the Steelers' backyard. So might as well.
I mean, you have him at 11. Yeah, we can trade now. Let's
now if you want Jimmy, you can have Jimmy. Pittsburgh, want Jimmy. I can have Jimmy.
Hey man, as long as Jimmy can take some tap lessons.
Not with that offensive line.
Well, y'all gotta do better with the offensive line, but y'all can have.
They just young, Chris. They just young, coach. They gonna get it together. They just young, man. They drafted damn near the whole line.
I'm just saying. Because you talk about Jimmy, right? You want Jimmy G to be dancing in that pocket. He ain't gonna have no time.
I didn't say I wanted him. I said he got to be able to move his feet. Like that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he ain't gonna have no time to move his feet because that line ain't gonna give him no time to move.
Well, if he learn how to, use his feet to mess up, then you're not gonna do this to me. Whatever.
He ain't gonna have no time. He done. No, he ain't done. But I'm just saying, Jimmy G. Yeah, but I end up getting Cal Pickett. I mean, not Cal Pickett, but Kenny Pickett, probably more likely.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, Rudolph.
Oh, come on now.
Hey, he almost beat Detroit.
Well, I mean, but that's a low bar.
Actually, I heard that Tomlin like Haskins. You know that? I heard Mike Tomlin actually like Haskins.
A knucklehead, like he been doing this knucklehead stuff in Pittsburgh already. Because they were saying something about when he was like on the field or whatever, he was all on his phone and taking pictures and stuff. I'm like, dude. Like, bro,
Dwayne Haskins doesn't even want to be an NFL quarterback. He just likes the lifestyle the NFL quarterback brings. He's not about that NFL life.
That who was that quarterback that came from USC that was with damn man, he ended up going to Arizona.
Oh, Carson Palmer.
No. He played for USC, and then he ended up getting drafted by the Cardinals, I think.
USC.
Oh, Matt
Leinart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Haskins. That's Haskins, man.
That's crazy.
Matt Leinart messed with every pop singer. You know what I mean?
He was a rock star.
He was like, He was yeah, boy. He was he messed with every pop singer, every
Yeah, he was a
little
beast.
teen, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was about they only like the NFL lifestyle that it brought.
Right,
They weren't about that NFL life. It was about
right,
what it brought to them as far as
right,
fame
Right.
and stuff like that. So
right.
Yeah, yeah, he was there. He was at USC, and that's the thing I never understood with that situation. Is like his transition should have been a lot better, because like to me, it's almost like he already was thrust in the spotlight, dude. Because this is before the Chargers and the Rams even got there, so he was the big ticket in LA. And it's just like he became in inverse where he became a fish in a big pond in Arizona, and then Kurt Warner came to rescue, and the rest is history for Arizona. It's like
Thank
I
you,
still
Kurt
can't get
Warner.
over. Like, yeah,
Thank you, Kurt.
I
Thank you,
talk about that
Kurt.
as far as with the Super Bowls, right? And we were like, as far as Kurt Warner, it was like, yeah, because that was really supposed to be Matt Lanner's team, essentially, initially,
mhm.
but because that's what his because at first because I remember we was talking about like Arizona, like story that he led them to the Super Bowl. He was almost supposed to be like a rinse and repeat. Like he, obviously Kurt Warner Lions to become really Eli's backup, and then we figured he was gonna be Matt Lanner's backup, and just pretty much be his OG as the young kids would.
He's so stupid.
So, fella, let's put a bow on this week's Couch Coach Live, man. I'll go around the horn. Gabe, final thoughts, social media plug, anything, upcoming projects you got, plug away.
Okay, well, Coach, I mean, just thank you again for inviting me on your show again. I mean, I really appreciate it. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Of course, yes, my podcast is Sports Takes Galore with Gabe. I mean, you can tune in to Spotify, you can Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I mean, wherever you get your podcast from. Of course, I'm on Twitter, at GG Sports 13, and of course, I have a Facebook page, Sports Takes Galore with Gabe. So, go to my Facebook page and check that out.
What's up?
Yep. Now, what you got?
Man, great show. Nice to meet you too, Gabe. You know what I'm saying?
Same,
I was
same to you, Mal. Same to you.
in the playoffs, man. I was rooting for y'all. You know what I mean? I really was. I love I think y'all one of them scary teams in the future. Like seriously, I like Jimmy G. You know what I'm saying? And I think y'all figure it out. But they just all around, like even your special teams. You know what I mean? Like it was just a lot of good things with that team. Like I was really excited to watch them. But great show, man. You know what I mean? NFL season. Probably next week we're gonna have to talk about another sport. Hopefully I'll be smiling. I don't want to have no tears, Coach. Please. Okay. I've been extremely stressed about my Lakers. Please don't do it, Coach.
You a Laker fan
but
too?
man, I'm from Akron, so I'm a big LeBron fan. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Well, I've
So,
been a Laker fan, my whole life. So yeah.
well, for me, I was born in '78, so no, they can say whatever they want. You either was a Laker fan or a Boston fan. You can like the 76ers, but you either like the Lakers because that's who was winning all the championships.
Mhm.
But Deshaun Morgan, 78 Instagram. DT Morgan 78 Instagram, and Deshaun Morgan on Facebook, and another great show, Coach.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And yeah, and NFL season's over, and it's so funny. Like at the time, has gone by so fast. Like when you sit
Yeah,
down,
it
you
did.
think about it. Like September was here, and then it's gone in the blink of an eye. But yeah, football season's over, but we still got a few more weeks until the NFL New Year kicks off, so that's going to be another interesting storyline. So NFL is really a 12-month process, honestly. So even though we're saying goodbye to football, but it's really more so of a see you later in about 4 or 5 weeks when the NFL league year. And as a matter of fact, a month from tonight. Yeah, for tomorrow night, the 17th will be actually the league New Year's March 16th. So it's a
Yeah,
week
March
from today.
16th. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be So that's gonna be a lot of great action with that. Couple the NCAA tournament. So trust me, the NFL doesn't go away. That's
Oh
the beautiful thing about the NFL.
man, Chris, I got some stuff to tell you when we get off here.
Okay. All right, cool. All
Yeah.
right. But Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Couch Coach Live. Anyway, get your podcast, Apple, Spotify. We're there. Also, check out our YouTube page. Head over to there. We have our content there. Definitely huge shout out to everybody participated in our Super Week, Couch Coach Live Super Week last week. Definitely we had you had Cornell as well on your podcast last week as well too. So that huge shout out to him. He's doing his thing, and hey, get back one of these days next year. So but hell of a run for the Bengals. Definitely a huge shout out to the Rams for winning the Super Bowl, and definitely shout out to Sean McVay. Sean McVay is that guy. I now think about it. I thought about it the other day, like as far as his coaching tree, is like God, like dude, he got a lot of like former guys under him as head coaches. Now he's starting to develop a nice coaching tree.
Yeah.
That almost that rivals a lot of, especially rivals a lot in this league potentially. I think it's almost just as impressive as like an Andy Reid, current ones as far as and their success. I think about Andy Reid as far as his coaching tree, especially now since Doug back in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doug.
Doug. Shout out to Doug.
Right.
And that's right. I think we. Yeah, that's right. We get to see Doug. Hey, Doug come to FedEx. Okay. Yeah, Doug and the Jags come back with little T-Law. Yeah, that'd be fun. But yeah, so man, another great show. Like I said, we're just merely out of football for a month because, like you said, in a month it'll be the league new year. So many transactions be going on that day. I guess you would call it almost like a moratorium period, and then it's just the floodgates gonna hit. Guys left and right, guys are gonna get signed, and then we got the NFL draft. Never ends. So, but that's the beauty about football. It never ends. The games may have end, but the drama, the transactions, and everything else will still exist. Well, yeah.
Shout out to the NFL too. I think they did pretty good with the COVID issues.
They sure did.
I know.
Shout out.
I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't know how all of a sudden it just really went away. I mean, I'm just saying
hey, did you see one? I seen one mask. Dude was like, "Hey, LeBron, hey man, my mom is on here. Say what's up." He said, "What's up, mom?" And he was like, "Ma, he a real one, ma. He a real one."
Yeah, that was wild.
The only one I saw with a mask.
That's wild. And that's crazy because they gave everybody that mask in that stands. Like everybody got a mask on their seat. I know.
They was having a ball. But
that's just a lot has changed. I'm telling you, California was supposed to be this staunch when it comes to this type of enforcement. I told you, people saying, "Oh well, if the Super Bowl will get canceled, it's gonna go to Dallas." Ain't no way in hell LA is gonna lose a Super Bowl. They done built a $5 billion stadium. They've been waiting for this for almost 28 years. Ain't no way in hell they gonna force that back to no damn Dallas.
You think they will lose that revenue coming from?
Hell no.
They know where they're losing that revenue coming in. Coming to LA and losing it to Dallas. I mean, ain't no way.
Y'all had a Super Bowl 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Time.
Y'all being biased. I see it all over y'all. You're a 49ers fan, and I think Commander.
And I'm glad that they took care of business in Cherry World in Wild Card Weekend. Trust me, I was praying. I was
I was gonna say that was one of the worst moments. I was gonna say that one of that 14 seconds with that.
I will tell you.
I know
was
Jimmy.
So happy.
I know Jerry said, "Damn it! I knew we should have gave that boy that money."
I said when that 4th and 1, and then Trent Williams got called for that penalty. I was like, "Oh no! Don't blow it! Don't blow it! Don't blow it! Don't blow it!
Like I said, we almost blew that game too because we basically were dominating the game. I mean, then of course Jimmy throws a boneheaded interception, which they had no business getting back in this game.
Exactly.
None. I mean, and then of course there was one play that he missed that would have ended the game. I mean, wide open to Brandon Ayuk, and I mean he misses. I was like, oh man, that is the end. Dallas was done. But I'm glad we got it done. So that's all that counts.
And shout out to Nickelodeon because I watched the game on Nickelodeon. I'm serious, man. People like, oh, like, yeah, I'll watch it because I ain't got no dog in the fight now. Watch Nickelodeon.
Let me tell you, the Troy Aikman and Tony Romo are the most pettiest. When they watch the Cowboys, they are so petty. Like Tony Romo was like, he really needs like 16 seconds. I don't think he's going to be able to. What he really should do is, you know what I mean? He was like, I don't think he has enough time. Yeah, game's over, guys. I was like, Tony Romo ain't no good.
Yeah.
No good. No
but
good.
Yeah, man, what a wild show. But yeah, man, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Couch Coach Live. Anyway, get your podcast. We're on there, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, everywhere. And then also YouTube, check out YouTube. Another huge shout out. Head over to goalie.com. Use my promo code Couch Coach. Get yourself 10% off and check out. I think that is just about. Yeah, man. Once again, goodbye to football for now. Goodbye to the games, but the drama will still unfold in the mere weeks. But definitely appreciate you, Gabe, for coming on and another great show. This has been this week's Couch Coach Live, man. We'll catch you guys next week, and we out.
All right, thank you for having me.